John chapter 2, verses 13 through 25 is the Sunday Gospel in the Common Lectionary for the third Sunday of Lent, Cycle B. This is the Johannine version of Jesus cleansing the temple. This story offers us a chance to see why the Gospels cannot be fact-precise biographies like fundamentalists insist. Those non-fundamentalists who apply historical critical methods in interpreting the Bible expect to discover more than one layer of tradition whenever they read the Gospels and in other biblical texts. Take a look for a moment carefully at John chapter 2 verse 17 and chapter 2 verse 22. As relating to the story found in John chapter 2 verses 13 to 25, the word remembered or recalled is a technical term used by the anonymous author we call John to describe the process by which the Jesus group gradually came to view Jesus as the fulfillment of Scripture after his resurrection. The Jesus group being the community of believers, in this case, that produced this gospel we call John. Therefore, verses 17 and 22 seen here do not describe eyewitness reports of on-the-spot responses of Jesus' immediate followers. Jesus' immediate followers, when he cleansed the temple, didn't reach these conclusions on the spot, but rather the evangelist's own interpretation of the event more than 60 years after the fact.
When you look at all of the variations in both the sayings of Jesus and the accounts of events in his life, what we do not have an eyewitness account. Now that may surprise some of you. We now have names in our Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Those names did not appear in those Gospels until the 2nd century. The fact is, we don't know who wrote any of them. We know whom the tradition came to associate them with, but we have no eyewitness accounts. We do not have a chronology of his life. Mark created the first one. It's not even 1 year long, it's one dry season. And Mark probably intended it as, if you will, symbol of what Jesus did every year during the dry season. But how many years did he actually do it? We don't know. In John's account, as I said, it's 3 years long, but it's so hit and miss and it doesn't correlate very well with Mark's that you very quickly get the idea that the chronologies are also theological. They are not historical. These writers are trying to tell you what they believe. They're not doing news reporting.
The Gospels are not Western biographies, folks. So what really happened? And when exactly did it happen? Jesus' cleansing of the temple is the obvious historical event that the anonymous author called John describes happening at the beginning of a ministry taking up 3 dry seasons over 3 years. John, disagrees with the other Gospels, which report Jesus' ministry lasted only 1 dry season over 1 year. Now, all of the evangelists report Jesus cleansing the temple, but the synoptic Gospels, Mark, Matthew, and Luke, place the event just prior to Jesus' trial and crucifixion, making it the more proximate cause of Jesus' death. So why did Jesus die according to Mark, Matthew, and Luke? Because he humiliated the Judean elites, the Jerusalem elites, in the temple. That was the cause of his death, cleansing the temple, humiliating the Judean elites. But the Gospel called John disagrees. The Gospel called John locates this event of cleansing the temple much earlier in the ministry of Jesus because he has made the raising of Lazarus from the dead the more proximate cause of Jesus' death. So why does Jesus die in the 4th Gospel we call John? Because he raised Lazarus. That's a big difference. Scholars think that probably the synoptic version is historically more likely. Do you see how the Gospels cannot be fact-precise biographies? Why would they be? They were not written for, by, or about 21st century Western people obsessed about facts and getting precise dates. One more thing. Please look carefully at this gospel for the word Jews. Every time you see it, understand that it should only read Judeans, never Jews. Please stop enabling genocidal hatred against both Jews and Palestinians by confusing them with biblical peoples and characters. Whenever you see the word Jew in your English Bible, scratch it out and replace it with Judean.